just like not move at all, like it'd be like perfect.
It's gonna be hard for me to do.
Welcome back to the Queen's Yanks channel. I appreciate everybody coming back. As the title of the video says, it's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to be predicting the rest of the Canadian Championship, starting with the quarterfinals, which at the time of this recording start tomorrow. So, first of all, if you haven't already looked at my Canadian Premier League Championship video from yesterday, I really would be appreciative if you would go watch it. I'm trying to get something together, a little fun banter back and forth between fan bases. I'm hoping to get somebody to represent each fan base to do these predictions with me, and just a fun little competition to see which fan base ends up winning at the end. And maybe we can give away a prize to the winner. So if you haven't watched that, I'll leave the link in the description, or you can just go back, because at the time I release this video, it'll probably be the video that I just put out right before this one. So, and unless Atletico Ottawa ends up scoring 3 goals in the final 9 minutes, it looks like I'm going to start off 1-0 on my predictions. So that said, we're going to go ahead and get right into the Canadian Championship predictions. So quarterfinal games, we're going to start off with York and Toronto FC. Toronto FC has a lot of big names on their roster. However, none of them are performing at all. Omar Gonzalez, I believe he's still with them. Michael Bradley, Dom Dwyer, Josie Altidore, which seems like he's not even anywhere near the team at this point. But for lack of a better term, I just think Toronto is not very good. I think they're old. I don't think they're fast. And I think a team like York, who was riding a 3-game win streak before this game, and this looks like they're going to be riding a 4-game non-lose streak, I should say, not a win streak, but a 4-game unbeaten streak. So I actually think York is going to beat Toronto to become the next Canadian Premier League to knock off an MLS team. So the next game is Calgary and Pacific. And look, although it does seem like in terms of just geographically, it looks like Calgary and Edmonton is probably going to be a bigger rivalry moving forward. But that said, it's not like Pacific and Calgary are that far apart either. In fact, Calgary, I mean, I don't have a map right in front of me, but I'm assuming Calgary is the next closest actual city to Vancouver. But in Canada, I would assume Seattle's obviously probably closer. But that said, I think this game's going to be closer than than it looks on paper. Calgary has been kind of on fire lately. They've been the second best team the past 5 games, but Pacific has been the best team. And Pacific just looks unstoppable at this point. I think Pacific's going to beat them, but I think it's going to be closer than a lot of people think. I think it's going to be maybe 2-1, somewhere along those lines. So then we've got Forge and Valor. Fowler, take everything I said for Calgary and say the exact opposite. They've been on a complete downfall lately. Forge is always tough. I mean, they're back-to-back champs. I think Forge is going to pull this one out. I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue for them, maybe 2-0. So then we have Halifax and Montreal. And this game is really interesting, and it is very tempting to pick the Wanderers. But I'm not. I'm going to go with Montreal. Montreal, at this exact moment, is a playoff team in MLS. I don't think they're great, but I do think they're better than Halifax. And I think Montreal will beat them. I think the score line may tell a different story than what the game is going to be. I think Montreal might win 2-0, but I think it's going to be a lot closer to that in terms of the actual play. So then we're going to go on to the actual semifinals, which by the teams I picked is going to be York versus Pacific and Forge versus Montreal. Pacific New York I think is going to be a good game, but again, I think Pacific just has too much firepower. Until somebody can consistently stop them, I can't pick against them right now. So I'm picking Pacific to beat York. So then we have Montreal and Forge. And I think this is going to be a flat-out heavyweight battle. And I think this game just means more to Canadian Premier League teams than it does MLS teams. And that's not to say Montreal's not going to bring their A team to this, but I just think the Canadian Premier League players, this just means more to them, and they're going to fight harder. And I think Forge is going to pull this game off. And we're going to get a Canadian Premier League final between Pacific and Forge. And I think this game can go either way, but just like I said earlier, until a team can consistently stop Pacific, I'm not going to pick against them. I think your Canadian Championship tournament winner is going to be Pacific FC, and what a sight it's going to be for the Isle. So there's my predictions. Let me know what your predictions are. Let me know if you think that I'm going to be completely dead wrong on any of these. I'll be happy to hear it and hear your reasoning behind it. So that's another thing too. By all means, if you think I'm going to get one of these picks wrong, let me know, and let me know what your reasoning behind that pick is. Am I underestimating someone? Am I overestimating someone? Let me know. I absolutely love watching this league, as I've said before, and by all means, it appears this time next year Canada will be my home. So I am watching the Canadian Premier League as much as I can, and I can't wait for the second game tonight. Hopefully I can go 2 for 2 for my predictions. Appreciate you all watching. Everybody stay safe and have an amazing week, and good luck to everybody's team that you support this weekend.